4 straight wins and the Reds are over 500. Is it any coincidence that it's the middle of the lineup that was the catalyst?
You are Locked On Reds, your daily Cincinnati Reds podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome into the Locked On Reds podcast. Locked On Reds is part of the Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day. My name's Stephen Offenbaker. His name's Jeff Carr. We're lifelong Cincinnati Reds fans. We love baseball. We love the Reds. We've been covering this team in podcast form for about 14 seasons now. We love talking Reds baseball. We love talking Reds baseball with you on today's show. Austin Hayes. I had to leave a word out from the text I sent Jeff earlier. He went off in a big way, making his Cincinnati Reds debut. And I think Jeff Carr offended Gavin Lux just a little bit in yesterday's show. We're going to talk about that. Also, coming up a little bit later, we're going to dig into this Reds bullpen because it's very clear there's an A team in the bullpen and there's a B team in the bullpen. And we're going to tell you who's who out there. And then, of course, there's 2 more games in this Seattle series. We are going to get you set for the rest of the games coming up against the Mariners on today's show that is brought to you by Game Time. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. There it is. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. That's what we get for not writing it down. I couldn't find it. All right, Jeff, let's dive into this because I tell you what, Austin Hayes, welcome to Cincinnati. Did he endear himself to the fans right away? What a night for the newcomer. He looked healthy, he looked happy, and he looked ready to play.
2 hits and a big-time 3-run home run being that second hit that he gave the Reds. And honestly, Steve, all of his at-bats looked really solid. I kind of liked the way that Terry Francona got him into the lineup as a DH, dealing with the hamstring issue. It was kind of a, let's make sure we don't go too hard, too fast, and really,
and it was cold.
And it was cold.
It was cold.
You saw plenty of players, blowing into their hands, making sure they were warm, including former friend La Piedra, Luis Castillo. He was every single pitch. It seemed like he was just trying to make sure he could feel the baseball in his fingertips. But the Reds really roughed him up. 6 runs allowed for him, most runs he's allowed since August of 2023. And overall, Steve, this was about the middle of the lineup with Hayes returning, hitting 5th in the lineup on Tuesday night. And then Gavin Lux, kind of like you said, I was like, how dare they hit Gavin Lux clean up over Austin Hayes? What do I know? Guy has 4 hits on the night. And are we saying that Gavin Lux is the cleanup hitter for the time being?
Well, at least for now. I think we offended Gavin Lux and the Reds lineup as a whole because we said take the under on runs scored in this series, and they have to. It's already done. Like we lost that one. So
how about Chick-fil-A night on the first night of a series against the team with the best pitching staff in baseball?
It's clear that you only know how to take the over, and we need to focus on those situations, Jeff. But no, exactly. Gavin Lux 4 for 4. 2 RBIs in this game, score a run. He's hitting 273 right now, Jeff. Mm-hmm. Like, until somebody, and Austin Hayes is going to be the guy that eventually takes the spot away from him, I think. But right now, don't fix what ain't broken. Just leave it alone. Keep him there, and it's all going to sort itself out. But he came through in a big way. Now, I'm a little concerned. Nobody really made mention of it. But in that final hit, his 4th hit, it kind of looked like he tweaked something. He had a weird look. I don't know if because it was so cold, he just got a shocker from the bat. The way I don't know. Terry Francona didn't talk about it in the post game. Jim Day didn't.
Nobody asked him anything.
Nobody asked anything. I don't know.
Maybe
from the look on his face, it looked like there was a little something happening there. We'll see if he's in the lineup tomorrow. Then we don't need to worry about it.
His 4th hit was a seeing-eye single through the infield. I wonder if he caught it off the end of the bat, and kind of like you said, it just kind of reverberated up his arm, and it kind of felt like they were pinch running for him with Blake Dunn strategically anyway. Like I almost wonder if the wince was notwithstanding as to him being brought out of the ball game. But overall, I'm kind of to the point that I love having Gavin Lux in the lineup. And it's not because he's just uncorking homer after homer. He's just finding the spots in the defense where he can drop the baseball. And honestly, that's what this team needs. They don't need another 30 homer power guy on top of the other guys that they need the potential to grow into. Get this dude in the lineup, making sure that he moves guys around, gets himself on base as well. The 273 is nice to see because this Reds team is not getting a lot of consistency right now. If they can find that consistency, I tweeted this out too. If they can find that consistency out of the cleanup spot, how ironic would that be? I mean, I don't remember the last time a Reds cleanup hitter got 4 hits in a ball game.
Can I also just make mention of him defensively on a fly ball down the left field line, just going, screw it. Ellie's going to go get that. Ellie's going to go get that all the way down.
Adam Dunn could have been a Gold Glove left fielder with Ellie De La Cruz.
This is absolutely true. That's where I was going with this. If you never have to catch the ball, what did the defensive metrics say about that? That's what I want to know, because
that was back when they were just using fielding percentage. Like, there wasn't like defensive runs saved that they were worried about back then. Like, they'd have just been like, Adam Dunn, 1,000 fielding percentage. All right, he's Gold Glover. Like, but no, I love what I've seen from him. And obviously Austin Hayes coming back for his first game and going right. Like, I appreciated what Terry Francona said. He was asked after the game, how much did this team miss Austin Hayes? And he's like, oh yeah, we missed Austin Hayes. Now, it doesn't usually go right that fast, but we definitely missed him. And that was a great night, great debut. It's like, yeah, no, like, obviously it doesn't go right that fast because there's a few guys in this lineup that it still ain't gone right for. But hey, shout out to Jake Fraley, who had a 2-hit night. Maybe things are starting to go right for him.
One of them, if you had Jake Fraley infield single on your bingo card, congratulations. The other one was much better hit. The ground rule double was much better hit. But, sometimes we talk about this, right, Jeff? Sometimes those are the games that get a guy going. You need sometimes just luck to be on your side. And that infield single with Castillo not getting over, sometimes things just have to go your way.
All 4 of the Reds broadcasters circled tonight's game in case, like, a week or 2 from now, Jake Fraley's hitting like 350. And they're like, it all started Tuesday night, April 15th against the Mariners. But no, ultimately, this was a complete lineup performance. I mean, there was a point where and I'm blanking on his first name, but Santos came in for the Mariners and he was walking everybody, and the Reds took advantage of it. And Matt McLean got a bases loaded walk to get it to 7. And then Ellie De La Cruz hit a rocket right at the second baseman, who he tried to turn 2 with it and then realized he couldn't. So he flipped it to first to get Ellie out, but another run scored to give them 8. And when you take advantage of the opportunities that are given, this is how you win more than you lose. And this is why I think this game is so important. Not because the Reds eclipsed 500 in the month of April. Like, congratulations. Most other teams in baseball look at that and they say, golf clap, this is solid. Let's keep building on it. We as Reds fans have seen this team over the last couple of years get close to this, get to this point, and then lose 3 of 4 or lose 5 of 6. And then they're just back to where they were, trying to claw their way back to 500. So it's great to see that the moment it's presented to them, the chance that they can go above 500, they take advantage of it, and hopefully they can keep it going.
Yeah, first time over 500 since May of 2024. So this is a big deal. I do, just so we don't get accused of being all rainbows and sunshine kittens around here, Jeff, I do want to take just a second and talk about Candelario and Christian Encarnacion Strand. They combined 0 for 7 with a walk and 3 strikeouts in this game. They both look
contact too.
CES looks worse to me than Candelario, really, watching the at-bats last night.
I'm wondering if that soreness isn't more than it's
maybe. I don't know what to do there, Jeff. Like, neither one are showing signs of really breaking out of what's going on right now. I know May is coming, and that seems to be the cure-all for Jeimer Candelario, but I'm starting to grow pretty concerned about CES.
Well, and if you're talking about a healthier Spencer Steer, if he really gets his throwing going, which ultimately CES had a great night with a glove at first base. It's not a question as to his defense. It's a question of, can you stomach his bat being in the lineup? And if you're comparing Spencer Steer with him, and Spencer Steer's starting to get right, Steer's going to start taking at bats away from him. And if he takes hold of that opportunity, CES might find himself in Louisville sooner rather than later. So he's got to get going, and he's kind of got to do it like right now. Like there's not a whole lot of waiting around for him where, yeah, he's young. Yeah, he still needs some sort of like runway to live up to his potential as a prospect, but the Reds don't have a whole lot of runway when you're looking at their situation right now. They got to start winning, and they got to start winning tomorrow, today, yesterday. So when they got guys that are hitting a $143 and doing what CES has been doing at the plate here recently, you do have to give them a long look.
You do. And you know, I don't want to be right about this. I don't want to see CES head to Louisville, but I think it may be close. Maybe injured list before Louisville. Something's coming. They can't keep running him out there. So I think you're right. Spencer Steer takes over first base for a little while. Let CES get his head on straight. I'm okay with that.
But you're bringing us back down to earth notwithstanding. It was a great night at the ballpark for the Reds lineup as a whole. I'll tell you this, though, Steve, the bullpen really bailed out Nick Lodolo in a game that he didn't have his best stuff. But it's clear, based on a couple of performances that we've seen out of the bullpen, there's an A squad and there's a B squad. We're going to tell you who coming up next.
Playoffs? Yeah, basketball and hockey. Playoff season is here. It's heating up, and there's no better way to turn your sports knowledge into real rewards than with Prize Picks, the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy. With Prize Picks, you simply pick more or less on at least 2 player projections, and you're in. You can even combine players across sports, basketball, hockey, baseball, and more for your chance to win up to 2,000 times your cash. This is very easy. You do this with baseball. Jeff talked about this a lot last season. Ellie De La Cruz, more on the stolen bases. Not so much this season, but that time is coming, and you'll be able to score big with Prize Picks. Download the app today and use the code LOCKEDONMLB, and you're going to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONMLB to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. Run your game.
Thanks for always making Locked On Reds your first listen every single day. And shout out to our everydayers out there who make us a part of your lives every day. Really appreciate you. If you are not an everydayer, click that subscribe button. That way you become one here on YouTube or on your favorite podcasting app. All right, Steve, last night, not the best night at the ballpark for Nick Lodolo. Does not get out of the 5th inning, throws 90 pitches in the process, sort of battled all throughout. I mean, I think he had I think it was just one, 2, 3 inning. And every time else he dealt with guys on the base pass, gave up 2 home runs to the Mariners leadoff hitter, Dylan Moore. It was a tough night, and the kind of night that, you know, his curveball wasn't helping him. It wasn't breaking. It wasn't fooling guys. And so he had to get everything else going. That's why he threw so many pitches. But the bullpen ultimately bailed him out, albeit with a box of chocolates type performance.
Yeah, and just very quickly to put a bow on Nick Lodolo there, you know, his strikeout total, we saw it go up, right? He struck out 6 in this game, only walked 1, struck out 6, and that's because his pitches weren't crisp.
Which is still a good sign.
He's been getting a lot of weak contact, getting guys out that way. He was having to work to strike guys out, and I think that's why they eventually got to him. He was catching fat parts of the plate. But to your point about the bullpen, you know, you and I were discussing before we got started that there seems to be guys that you only want to use in limited situations. Scott Barlow being one of them. He's perfectly fine to be the guy that comes in that junk 5th inning where Lodolo is struggling. He's got to go, and you need somebody to come in and get you an out and kind of push the reset button. Scott Barlow was great for that. You know, he came in, he pitched a 1/3 of an inning, gave up 1 hit, walked a guy, struck a guy out, got out of the inning. Let's move forward. Then you continue, you're in the 6th, now you're down, and they chose to go with Alexis Díaz. Now, we spent a lot of time talking about Díaz on yesterday's show and how neither one of us felt like that he should walk into the clubhouse and be, hey, our closer's back. And he demonstrated exactly why you and I both felt that way. He did that thing. He always does. And I texted you as soon as it happened.
Yeah.
He walked the first batter he faced. Now,
I think he got unlucky, but then after that, he followed.
He got squeezed a little bit. You're right. Yeah. In that first at bat, he got squeezed a little bit, but ultimately he Díaz'd it up. He did that thing that he was doing all last year. This was not new. So right now, he's a sixth inning guy. And if we're making A team, B team, I'm going to tell you right now, Scott Barlow is B team. And I say that right now, this moment, until he proves me otherwise, Alexis Díaz is B team in the bullpen.
And I think there might even be an argument that he's not like the number one option of the B team. Like, I think he's got to beat out Ian Jabot for that, because right now it just doesn't feel like take the name off the back of the jersey and you see what he does. This is not a guy that you're like, I'm trusting very clutch moments with at the moment, just because he doesn't seem, he took, what was it 26 pitches to get through 4 at bats, and he did get 2 outs, but he put 2 guys on the bases as well, and you really started to worry about how this game could go. Now, to Terry Francona's credit, the moment that he put Díaz on the mound, he got Graham Ashcraft warmed up in the bullpen, and Graham Ashcraft is, of course, part of Team A in the bullpen. But that's what you got to do. If you're pitching Team B and you're in a close game, you got to have somebody from Team A ready to go the moment that things look like they're about to turn south.
Yeah, Team A entered Graham Ashcraft, and before we get into the rest of Team A, let's round out Team B, because just want to make mention of who we're talking about the rest of the way. And I wonder how many people spit their coffee, the morning listeners, when you said Ian Jabot. But to defend Ian Jabot in his last 5 outings, 5 1/3 innings, he's given up 1 run. That was a home run. Other than that, he is not allowed to run. So he is pitching much, much better. But you look at this, right? Who is Team B? Well, we said it's Alexis Díaz. We said that it's Barlow. It's Taylor Rogers. He doesn't go out there when there's anything on the line at all. He's almost a mop it up kind of guy right now. I'm not sure what's happening with him. I mean, his stats are okay. 4 innings of work, 2.08 ERA, strikeouts per 9 at 6, walks per 9 at 4. He's fine. He's on Team B.
No, I don't strike out.
You got to say
horrible.
You gotta think that Brett Suter is also considered Team B. He's not a guy that you're gonna have in a high leverage situation. So it's Rogers, it's Suter, it's Barlow, it's Jabot, and it's Alexis Díaz. Those are your 5 B squad guys. I agree with you that of that group, if nobody from Team A is available, I want Ian Jabot to be the B team guy that you put in a more risky situation. So that leaves the A team. We saw the A team deployed last night. Graham Ashcraft coming in for an Alexis Díaz that couldn't get the job done. Ashcraft, a multi-inning performance. You know, he got the 1 out that Díaz left on the table, then came out and pitched a clean inning. Then the Reds go with Tony Santillan, who is just getting better and better and better every time out. And then they go to Emilio Pagan comes in. He looked good. Now, I know that fly ball at the end of the game would have probably been a home run next month. But it was not a home run last night, and he got the job done as well. What the other nice thing about how they were used, Jeff, you know, I said this when we were kind of prepping. You look at the pitch totals from last night, and the fact that Graham Ashcraft threw 15 pitches. Then he was followed by Tony Santillan, who threw 9 pitches, and then Emilio Pagan threw 12 pitches. All 3 of those guys could pitch again tonight if they had to. And if they don't have to, and you can get through with the B guys, they're all going to be very rested for the series finale, 3rd game of this series. So I like how Francona used them. You know, you and I kind of kicked around, oh, you think we'll see like a 3-inning save, like a 3 1/3 inning save for Graham Ashcraft? I like this better. I like all 3 of those guys being available for tonight's game.
And he's able to call on guys like this when they're so efficient, because of just how quickly. I mean, Tony Santillan, if you got up at the beginning of the 8th inning to go get yourself some more fry box, like I think last call. Yeah. So if you're like going to get last call, you walked back to watch Emilio Pagan get the save because of how quickly he got through the top of the 8th and then the bottom of the 8th as well. Or no, the bottom of the 8th actually took a long time. Anyway, the top of the 8th, Tony Santillan was so fast. Emilio Pagan was so fast. In those 12 pitches, he did work 2 strikeouts. I don't think that there's any question that he is safe as the primary 9th inning option. And if he's not available, then you go to Santillan. And if Santillan's not available, then you go to Graham Ashcraft. But I do kind of like the 1, 2, 3 looking at these guys and kind of setting them up that way. And we'll talk a little bit more about this in just a few minutes. But like even tonight, Nick Martinez just has to give you 6 innings. And that's a great thing to say whenever you're looking at him and when you're looking at Brady Singer and when you're looking at Andrew Abbott and you got the A squad and the bullpen ready to go. I love the way that bit is set up. I'm a little bit concerned about the depth of the bullpen that I was really excited about in the offseason. Some of those guys are not exactly starting the season off well, but there's still plenty of time for them to turn it around too.
All right, you briefly made mention of it. Nick Martinez going for the Redlegs. There's a lot of series left. The Reds need to win today to get another series victory. Got to win series, baby. We're going to be talking about that coming up next.
Now, look, I'm not going to tell you how to spend your money, but I will tell you how to spend your money wisely because you need to get down to the ball game using Game Time. Game Time is going to get you the best prices anywhere. Trust me, I just went to San Francisco and I went to 2 games and I used Game Time for both of them, sat in beautiful spots, got great views of the game and great views of the stadium, and I didn't break the bank. And that was in San Francisco. Think of what you can do at Great American Ballpark. Find yourself some good seats today because the closer that we get the first pitch, Game Time is going to get you a good deal. There's so many different lightning deals and the hot deals and so many different things to check out. I was looking even at Thursday's day game, that first Thursday afternoon game of the season that is an opening day. And they've got some fantastic deals for that game as well. So, skip out of work early. Get on the Game Time app and get yourself a deal. Plus, if you're new to Game Time, create an account and use the promo code LOCKEDONMLB to save $20 off your first purchase. That's Game Time. They got the last-minute deals at the lowest prices, guaranteed.
If you can't watch us on YouTube, you can listen to us on pretty much any podcasting app that there is. We are on all of them, pretty much. So listen in the audio feeds if you can't watch us right here. All right, Jeff, 2 games to go in this series. The Cincinnati Reds can win today and get it done and have another series victory. They've got Nick Martinez going on the mound. And Nick, his performances is a tale of 2 Nicks. There's the front half of the game, the first 2 times through the order, one might point at, and say Nick Martinez has been pretty good. Mm-hmm. Then there's the 3rd time through the lineup, Nick Martinez, that has not been good at all. Now, to put it, to kind of quantify it, can you tell us a little bit about 3rd time through the lineup, Nick Martinez?
I do. In fact, there are a total of 15 plate appearances by opponents where they are facing Nick Martinez for the 3rd time in a given game. During those 15 plate appearances, opponents have 7 hits. Of those 7 hits, 2 are doubles, 2 are homers, for a batting average of .467 and an OPS of 1,467. In fact, according to the split OPS plus, it does a thing where it compares the production to the typical production against him. Hitters are 158% better against Nick Martinez the 3rd time through the order than they are the 1st time through the order against him.
And that's also what the eye test has said. That's what everybody that has watched Nick Martinez's starts this year has picked up on. So I'm going to say this, heading into this next start with Seattle, I'm not ready to bounce him from the rotation. I'm not ready to just say stick him back in the bullpen and be done with it. But here's what I am ready for. If it looks like at all today that Tito thinks he might want to let Nick Martinez pitch to a guy a 3rd time, there better already be somebody hot in the bullpen. We're not waiting to get him up till after things go sideways. We're not waiting until Nick Martinez gives up a homer or a couple runs or whatever. If Terry's going to make that decision, he needs to have those numbers in front of him and he needs to act accordingly. He needs to manage accordingly. Someone needs to be hot. So the second things go wonky, you can get him out of there.
Well, and I think to Tito's credit, he's managing each and every game for each and every game. As much as he says in the post game, he's like, well, we have our eyes on August, September, October, things like that. I still think he understands that the win tonight definitely means a whole heck of a lot because he had Emilio Pagan warming in the bullpen on Tuesday night, and he had Brent Suter warming in the bullpen on Tuesday night in case things got out of hand in the bottom of the 8th. They extended the lead to the point where it was not a save situation, quote unquote. he still brought in Emilio Pagan, and Emilio Pagan still shut the thing down. And I think that is something to keep in mind when it comes to the way that Tito manages this ball club. Like, he's not managing it. And thankfully we're not dealing with this right now, but I do not imagine we will be doing an episode this year, Steve, and get excited. We're not going to be doing an episode talking about how Tito punted a game. Remember, David Bell really liked to punt games. Like, there were games that it just felt like David Bell was like, you know what? We're going to lose. And it's okay, because tomorrow's another day. Tito ain't like that.
You mean playing 3 players short with a bullpen day to boot? Yeah, those games.
Yeah. Some of it was not. I mean, some of it was like not his fault. It was the roster was like, this is what you're going to do, and you got to just eat it. But no, I really think that Tito knows this. He's going to be looking at this. You're going to have Brent Suter. I think a great, if I were managing, and thankfully I'm not the manager, Tito's the manager, but if I were looking at this, I think a great guy that you could call on, you could even go B squad and call on Brent Suter. You could bring Brent Suter in because Nick Martinez isn't the hardest thrower in the room, but he's a decently hard thrower. Brent Suter slows everybody down. And then after Brent Suter pitches an inning or two to bridge the gap, bring in Graham Ashcraft, throwing that 97-mile-an-hour cutter, and Seattle's lineup is just going to be throwing up the hands like, I don't know what we're doing here. So I think that there's still plenty of ways that you can strategize this deficiency that Nick Martinez has with the third time through the order thing, but it's definitely not to be ignored. I agree with you there.
Yeah, and then you look at the rest of the other side of that pitching matchup, Jeff. So Bryce Miller goes for Seattle in this game. You know, he's a big righty, 6'2", 200 pounds, 26 years old. This is a pretty good young pitching staff, really, by and large, that the Mariners are running out there. He's career 20-17 with a 3.57 ERA, 59 games started. He's a pretty good one. But of the 3 pitchers they're facing in the series, he's probably the third guy. You know, if I was going to rate him, he's the third guy. So I would like to see the Reds get at him, get into the Mariners bullpen, score some runs, win the game today so that you have the series win over with already, because you get into the finale of this series. And now you're looking at a young pitcher that I'm kind of excited to watch pitch for the Mariners, Bryan Woo. You know, the Woo. This is another righty, 15-8, 3.39 ERA and 43 starts. But this season, he's already 2-0, 2.84 ERA in 3 starts. He's looked pretty good, 19 innings worth of work. I'm kind of excited to see him pitch, but he's going to be against the guy that seems to inspire this Reds lineup in Brady Singer. So I hope they can knock him around. But
whatever energy Luke Weaver had a couple of years ago, I think he has transferred it to Brady Singer. So Dream Weaver is now what's a good one for Brady Singer? Rock singer, pop singer, dream
you're gonna
singer.
hurt yourself.
Anyway, we'll come up with something. The comment section will take that and run with it. But no, I think that this is a really good opportunity. And I will say this, Bryce Miller is stuck in my memory because of what he did last year. Now, albeit this was in Seattle, not in Cincinnati, but he faced the Reds last year, and in 6 innings, he allowed 1 hit. It was a solo home run, and he had 7 strikeouts to 1 walk. So there was definitely some really good pitching on his end going on the last time that the Reds faced him. Maybe they can make a little bit of hay with this rejuvenated middle of the order. Hopefully we can see Ellie De La Cruz pop off a little bit, because I mean, he did get the RBI last night, but it sort of felt like there were a couple of situations where he just got fooled on a few pitches and he didn't quite get the bat on the ball when we needed him to. Hopefully we can see that happen here against Bryce Mitchell, because, you know, Mitchell being the righty, he is going to be hitting from the left side again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like that we'll see left-handed Ellie the next 2 days. That's just better overall. I think Ellie, while he's shown more power right-handed, better chance for him to go off as a lefty.
I loved side note on this, because the crowd was phenomenal. I was watching on television. I wasn't at the ballpark, but the crowd was phenomenal at Great American on Tuesday night, good old 3-2-1 Tuesday. And they were doing that whole countdown of the pitch clock, and they were doing it 4 seconds off. They got the 0, like when there were still 4 seconds left. And the guys on the mound for Seattle were falling for it. They were throwing at 4 seconds just about every time. And so it was kind of funny to see. And a friend of the show, Mo Egger, said, I'll take the pitch clock countdown over the woo any day.
1,000% of the time.
And so we'll have to see what the woo, Bryan Woo, does with the countdown of the pitch clock on Thursday.
Oh boy. And that is probably a good spot to go ahead and wrap it up for today. Thanks so much for making Locked On Reds your first listen of the day. Now you can go check out our buddy Tim Daniel on the postcast after tonight's game. I know he was doing his best job to try and elicit a cough drop sponsor for the show last night. He was struggling to get through it. He assures me he's better tonight. Tune in to check out the postcast. Also, for your next listen, go check out our guy Sully over on Locked On MLB. He gives you a daily look at the biggest stories around the league. Until next time, we will be gathering up the news, the information, and the reports and bringing them back right here to keep you locked on Reds every single day. I thought we were going to do hashtag Jeff hates Ellie De La Cruz, and we didn't talk anything bad about Ellie De La Cruz. What happened?
Whoa. What are we talking? Why would we even be?
You teased it yesterday. You said we were going to say.
I don't remember this.
You teased you were going to bash on Ellie. That's what you.
I didn't say bash on Ellie.